And it's very interesting because in the US, they're tearing down all of these statues that depict another time that was not so egalitarian if you had darker skin. And on the one side, they're saying, this is terrible, you're ruining America, you're tearing up its history. But you know what? Tearing down statues goes all the way back to the Boston Tea Party, when this country wasn't even a country yet, and it was just getting ready to polarize against England and fight a horrible war. But tearing down statues is nothing new. It's gone on forever. But sometimes that's how we get a new view. We have to get rid of the old. And people say, well, history is just history. It'll always be there. But you see, history needs to be revisited with fresh eyes. Some of you who have read some of the books I've referred you over the years may be aware of a book that was really a seminal work, really. It was called The Chalice and the Blade. And it was written by a woman who went back and started looking at these ancient archaeological digs, but looking at them through a feminine perspective, rather than the predominating patriarchal perspective, which is a power over perspective. Because you look at the old way, you see who's in power, who took slaves, how they did this, and then how great they were, or maybe how corrupt they were. But if you go back to a different time when people were maybe not as patriarchal, maybe it was before the true arising of this power over mentality. And those cultures were feminine cultures. People stayed in relationship. They often had goddesses and priestesses and so on. And the cultures were different because why? The feminine psyche is relational by nature. The masculine psyche, particularly if it's untrained or uneducated, is not. It's just into the eye. And so when the eye became associated with my country or my army, here's what we can do for the eye. We go out and tear up everything. Pillage, plunder, rape, steal the children, maim the men. And some of this was done in the name of religion. And you can clearly see that's not spiritual at all. This is the history that needs to be dissolved, because going on underneath that was always at least another story, sometimes many, many, many stories. And you see, that's what's so potent about this time. These new Aquarian energies are magnificent. They're causing a mess because the old status quo won't work anymore. And so you have to clean up the mess, of course. It's the way it is. And yet, what is happening is something that is quite remarkable.